Hello guys, today I want to show to you guys my new Shaddoll-Invoked-Dogamtika Deck profile. I recently got back into playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! With like remote duel, and I also played at my locals and we had back-to-duel, and I made second place at back-to-duel, and we played like the top 8 and stuff like that, and yeah, I managed to make the top 8 and then also got second place. I lost in the finals to a guy from my locals who played Dragon Link. He has like a really interesting list. It's like really budget friendly, so you can take a look at it if you want. He also made a video about it, and yeah, I will share the link in the comments so you can take a look at his Dragon Link list. But yeah, I want to talk about my Shaddoll Invoke list, and yeah, but a short disclaimer. I also started making my own playmats as like this Alistair playmat. So yeah, if you want to check out any of my playmats and see if you want one, you can check out my new Deviant art. I posted there all my playmats, and yeah, you can just write me there if you want one of those. And yeah, then we can talk about it. All right, let's start with the deck profile. And yeah, I obviously 3 Alistair the Invoker, Heart and Soul of the deck. Not much to explain about that. And yeah, then 2 Invocation. It's alright to play 3 in this deck because you also play like Shaddolls, so you can use Invocation without Alistair, but I think you don't have to. Yeah, it's like really good if you draw Alistair and Invocation together if they hand trap you or something like that, but I think 2 is like just enough, so yeah. And then also we're playing 3 Magical Meltdown. Magical Meltdown, hands down, is the best card in this deck because it just synergizes so well with the Shaddoll Engine. So yeah, you can break like every bot with Schism and Meltdown. So you can even out a Dragoon without him doing without him being able to do anything. Yeah, if you have like Meltdown and Schism. So yeah, it's like really good. And yeah, that's it for the Invoked Engine. It's like a really small engine. I don't play Terraforming because right now it really hurts if you get hit by Droll, and if you start with Terraforming and then yeah, go for the Meltdown, they get Drolled. It's like not worth it. So this deck is consistent enough, like for seeing Alistair. That's why I said yeah, 6 Alistair is like enough because it can do also stuff without Alistair. So yeah. Now for the Shaddoll engine, I decided to play a really small Shaddoll engine. I'm playing like 2 Beast because I think Beast is like the best one. The theory behind that is if you fuse the Beast from your hand, you can just draw a card and then draw into some of your power cards, because this deck has like a lot of good and strong power one card power cards. So yeah, if you draw Meltdown, if you draw Nadir, or even Shaddoll Fusion and stuff like that, Beast is like really good for stuff like that. So yeah, and my other targets are Wendy, Ariel, and Falco. Those are the only 5 I play in the main deck. I also play some in the side deck, which is really wild, but I will explain that later. And those are the only 5 Shaddoll monsters I play in the main deck. And yeah, I think Wendy is like really good because she just spells you Beast, so you can use Beast again in the next turn. Ariel is it's a really good removal card, insta win against Eldritch, so yeah, you have to play her. And then the Falco, I decided to play the Falco over other things, because I think if you play that so less Shaddolls, yeah, only 5, then it's like really good to have something that comes back and gives you more of a grind game, and Falco is like the best Shaddoll for that. This could also be a dragon, but I don't think dragon does a lot for me. Yeah, it shoots spell trap, but you don't really need that in this deck because you don't really have a problem against like the strongest spell trap deck, which is Eldritch, because you have Ariel against that, so you don't really want to send the dragon against them, so you really want to send Ariel. So I think Falco is like fine. I will switch this, I think, in the future for the new Shaddoll that's coming out, the Earth Shaddoll, which can negate cards, but yeah. Right now I played it like that. And yeah, for the Shaddoll spell traps, I'm playing 3 Shaddoll Fusion and only 1 Schism. So yeah, those are the only Shaddoll spell traps I'm playing in the main deck. I decided to cut the Shaddoll Incarnation and put it into the side deck, and also I'm playing not the I'm not playing the El Shaddoll Fusion because you really don't need it. I think if you want to fuse in the opponent's turn, just go for Schism. So that's like the theory behind that. And Shaddoll Fusion is like a really strong power card, which you can, if you draw it, it's like really good. It gives you an insane grind game. It gives you a good going second. So yeah, and together with Meltdown, you can out like any board with Shaddoll Fusion if you have Meltdown on the field. Just go for Ebb Clone, negate any card you want. So yeah, it's like really good. Now for the really small Dogmatika Engine, I'm just playing 3 Nadir because this card is like busted. It's hands down the best card in your deck. It's yeah, the other best card. Meltdown is obviously the best card, but this is the other best card because it just lets you plus so free and so easily. And yeah, for the targets, I'm only playing 1 Ecclesia, 1 Fleur, and 1 Punishment. You can cut Fleur if you want to, or cut Punishment, but I think it's like good to have another target for Nadir, because if you draw Ecclesia, you have to do some weird stuff with going for Artemis and then adding it from grave. So it's fine to have the other target, but this is my 41st card, so maybe I can cut it, but I was fine with like 40 cards. So yeah, I think this ratio is like really good. By the way, I never resolve Punishment. I always use Punishment to negate something against Eldritch or something like that, to negate traps with Mechaba. I never resolved it, because if you resolve it in this deck, it just really hurts, because most of the time you have like Shaddoll Fusion in your hand, which you want to resolve the next turn, or Alistair. So it's not really a good idea to activate the Punishment, but it's like really good to have the +1 from Ecclesia. So yeah, it's good that you also have Fleur if you don't want to search Punishment or already have one. Now for the staple cards, those are really wild and not like the other Shaddoll-Invoked decks. I decided to go a bit of a different route. The first one is normal, and also the second one, but the rest difference is a bit different. So I decided to play the 3 Pot of Prosperity. This is like the best pot card we have right now in the deck. Yeah, it does hurt to banish like cards from your extra deck, but if you already have like an okay hand, you only have to use 3. You only have to use 6 cards if you had it like really dog shit. But yeah, this was like a really good card, and yeah, I wouldn't change it for another pot. It's like really expensive, but I think it's worth it because you have a lot of power cards in this deck, and you really want to see them, and the pot just helps you to see them. I think it's like better to draw than drawing 2 in this deck. To search for a card with like showing 6 cards or 3 cards is like hands down better than drawing 2, because you really want to pick a card because you want to see those power cards. So that's why the pot is like insane. One of those big power cards is like Super Poly. I decided to play it in the main deck as free because this is like the best card to out like boards, Dragonlink, or whatever you want. Both of your engines synergize well with Super Poly, so I think maxing out on it is like perfect. Yeah, that's it for like the non-handtrap cards. The rest of the deck is like handtrap cards, and the reason why is I decided to play Phantasme in the main deck. This hurts sometimes if you play against Eldritch, or also stuff like Virtual World, which is still walking around, but the most of the decks play Link Monsters and also use Link Monsters in their first turn. Even this deck uses Link Monsters in the first turn. You normally go for Artemis or like Secure Guard combo. So yeah, Phantasma is right now really good in the meta. It's insane against Dragonlink. You can draw 3 cards, no, 4 cards against Dragonlink, and then shuffle 3 back. So it's like the same same reasoning as before with the Pot of Prosperity. You want to see your one-off power cards, your Shaddoll Fusion, your Alistair, and also your Meltdown. In this deck it's like better to see Meltdown than Alistair, and also your Nadir Servant. So yeah, you want to see those power cards. And yeah, together with the Phantasma, I decided to play Nip. I think Nip is like still a really good hand traps. A lot of people cutted it, but because I'm playing so many hand traps and Nip just like synergizes really well with Phantasma, I decided to still play Nip in the main deck, and it's also light, and also if you use it, you can still fuse the Nip in your next turn. If you have like Shaddoll Fusion and also a Shaddoll, you can use the Nip from your field to fuse, so this is also really good. And The other card I'm playing Artifact Lancia. This is like really good against Dragon Link, against the Mirror Match. So yeah, Bird Up. There, Watch Your World. There are so many matchups. Dinosaurs. This card just, wins against all of those, and yeah, it's also light, so it's a no-brainer. You use Phantasmate, then you can also get a lance. So it's like really great. And the last three hand traps are Ash Blossom. This is like, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to play Ash Blossom or maybe a Whaler or something like that, because Whaler just really synergizes well with Nip. But I decided to go with the Ash Blossom instead, because I think it's the most generic of the low impact hand traps. So yeah, why not go for Ash Blossom? And you can, it's like really amazing if you go for Phantasma and then just see a Nip and also an Ash Blossom. It's like really good. And I decided to play this high amount of hand traps because your only real problem is if you go second and the opponent just gives you an unbreakable board. If they have like 3 or 4 negates, you can do nothing. Or if Drytron, for example, has like a Herald or something like that, you can do nothing. Against control decks, if they set 5, it's alright. Your engine is strong enough that you can do, you can play around it or stuff like that. But if you get like 3 or 4 negates, if they get 3 or 4 negates on the board, it's like over. So I decided to go for this ratio of hand traps. And also the other reason was there's Lightning Storm, there's Evenly. It's just really strong, and if you go for a lot of back row, it hurts you a lot. So why not go for a monster on the field which they have to negate, go for spell traps that they have to negate in punishment or schism, and also go for the hand traps. So you have like 3 layers of interruption which they need 3 different cards against that. So yeah, I think this was like the idea behind that, and I think it worked really well. Now for the extra deck, which is in my opinion the hardest thing to build in an Invoked Shaddoll deck, because it's like so tight and you really have to know what you want to play. I'm only playing 3 Link monsters. I think those 3 Link monsters are the most important Link monsters. I'm not playing a Cross Sheep or Borisword or something like that, but you don't need it because I also never missed it at the weekend, and yeah, you don't need that stuff because you can okay with your big beat sticks, so you don't have to play the burst sword. I think it's like really important to play the gravity controller because you can go then with your Shaddoll fusion monsters from the extra monster zone. For example, you can just special construct and then send with construct schism, then link construct away, and then get your schism. So yeah, it's like really good. This is for Alistair, and yeah, just link Alistair away, and then you can fuse this one and also a Shaddoll monster with Shaddoll fusion into construct, or just fuse it for Mechaba if you don't have the Shaddoll fusion. And Worthy is right here because yeah, you can just resolve Shaddoll fusion a second time. You can just use it if you go second and they have an extra deck monster, you can just use it the first time in like the card, and then a second time send from Anaconda. So you can just use 2 times, fuse 2 times from your deck. So this is like really broken and amazing. So yeah, you have to play those 3 links. I think those are the minimum you have to play. Then for the Shaddoll monsters, I'm playing 2 construct. I think 2 is fine. You don't need the third one. 2 App Cologne, I was really happy that I played the second one, because it's like really good if you summon it from Shaddoll Fusion, because you can send something like Ariel, banish, and negate a card on the field. Once I negated Mystic Mine with it, so this is like really good. And then also to Winda, I think this is like the perfect ratio. In the future, I may play also the Earth Shaddoll, the Shack, because then you also have an Earth target in your deck. So yeah, but I think right now this is like a fine ratio, and I wouldn't change it. Then for the invoked cards, obviously to Mechaba, I wouldn't cut on the Mechaba. I think this is like really important. And also Raijin, this is like really good against Bird Up. You can just fuse it, and also yeah, wind monsters are in the meta right now, and this is like a good card. You can also use a Droll. And also the other really good card is Orgoides. I think those two cards are really good in a grind game because they don't use cards from your hand. Mechaba is like a really strong card, but in a grind game, those two cards are way better because you can just use. They do not require any resources, but Mechaba always needs you to discard a card. So I really went a lot in those two in the grind game. Also, when I still had like Mechabas left, and the last invoked monster is like Elysium because this is like so great with Super Poly. Yeah, you can just if you go first, if you can just go for your Mechaba, then maybe they use Dark Ruler or whatever to negate your Mechaba. Then you can still use Super Poly and fuse Mechaba into and also one of their extra deck monsters into Elysium, and then still have like a banished all light monsters when you banish Mechaba, or banish all monsters and non-targets. So Elysium is like a really strong card with Super Poly. And the last target for Super Poly was like Starwind and Fusion Dragon to just break a Dragon Link board. So I think this was worth it to spot, so I decided to play it. Yeah, maybe like good information is also what I banished for the pot. It always depended on the matchups, but I banished a lot like Raijin and Starwind and Fusion Dragon when the matchup wasn't the right one. Also, I banished a lot of Elysium because if you don't have Super Poly, you always never go into Elysium. Sometimes I banished Epsilon or Winder if you don't need it in this matchup, or also sometimes Anaconda, but those two cards are never banished. Sometimes I banished one Mechaba, never banished the Augur Edis, yeah, never banished the Construct. So yeah, I think those are good to banish, and also one Mechaba if you have to use the 6 cards. But yeah, it always depends on the matchup what you banish with the Pot of Prosperity. Okay, now for the side deck. My side deck was pretty special because I decided to just side 3 Shaddolls because I wanted to make some more space in the main deck to play more Handtraps. I think I added the Lancers or the Nips and cut those out. And I just told me if I have like a control matchup, I can just side those in and side the Handtraps out because I think the main deck does enough against like the control decks. So yeah, I just wanted to have a second aerial against Eldritch and then a Squamata because it can be any Shaddoll, and also the Reshaddoll Incarnation because this is in grind games. This card is like really amazing. But if you go second against Dragon Link, you really don't want to draw this card. So yeah, I wanted to make my main deck as good as possible, also going second, so I decided to cut some Shaddolls, and if I side those in a control matchup or in a mirror match, I still have like 7 Shaddolls and 1 Incarnation. So this is like I think it was like a really good idea to do this, and I did not regret it in the weekend. And then also Dark Ruler No More, I think one of the best side deck or even main deck cards right now, but I prefer to go for Handtraps in the main deck because yeah, Dark Ruler No More does nothing if you go first. So yeah, but this is the only card I had to side in against Dragon Link because my main deck was fine enough against Dragon Link when I go second. So yeah, I only sided in the Dark Ruler No Mores, and yeah, then for Spare and Trap Hate, I decided to play Harpy's Feather Duster and Lightning Storm. I think even the match is like way better than Lightning Storm right now because it banishes the stuff and this is like really good against Eldritch. But I think the problem is Lancea is like everywhere in this format, and Lancea also kills your deck, so people side in Lancea or let it in the main deck. That's why I decided to play Lightning Storm over Lancea, and yeah, Lightning Storm still does enough and also can help you against like matchups which aren't back row decks because you can also destroy the monsters obviously. But yeah, Feather Duster was also MVP this weekend. And most spell Trap Hate is Cosmic Cyclone. Yeah, this card does banish it, so you lose against Lancea, but you often use this also or side this in when you go first. So yeah, you can also chain it to Lancea, so it's like more versatile than Evenly, but Evenly is is like the opponent can see when the evenly comes. You just go battle phase and you activate evenly, they chain lands. Yeah, but Cosmic Cycler is like way more versatile, and also it's way too good to not play it. And yeah, so I decided to still play Cosmic because you can't really play Twin Twister in this deck. So yeah, I think Cosmic was my choice. And the last 3 cards are IDP because yeah, IDP is like broken right now, and just decided this in against everything that it's good against. Like every deck in the meta, mirror match it's good in the mirror match. It's like really good against Dragon Link, good against Elvish. So yeah, IDP is amazing right now. All right, that's it for my side deck, and yeah, also for the deck profile. And yeah, if you have questions, just feel free to ask them in the comments. And if you want to see this mat or get a mat like this, I designed those myself. Just go for my Deviant art and check it out. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos.